All right. Hello, everyone, and I hope you've had a nice day. I was supposed to give this talk with my good friend and colleague Helle, but unfortunately she was not able to be here today. My name is Anders, and I'm an interaction designer and an engineer, and I've been working as an independent designer in collaboration with the Rockwell Foundation to design this new intervention for unemployed youth in Denmark. On the side, I run my own little startup called Remeries, which is an application helping people to cope with their social anxiety through self-empowerment. But let's get to it. This is Michael. He is 21 years old and he lives in Roskilde. He has a great wish to become a mechanic, and he has pursued this dream for several years. Unfortunately, he's not been able to find an apprenticeship after he graduated 2 years back. And since then, he's been involved in several municipal programs. He has had a very turbulent upbringing. He was removed from his parents for a while, and he still has a pretty intense relationship with them. He has also had a substance abuse of hash for the last 5 years. And Michael, he's a pretty typical example of a young person within this group in Denmark who have a hard time finding their direction towards education or towards work. Unfortunately, many of these young people never find their way. And he's definitely not the only one in Denmark in this group. There's 40,000 young people in the age between 16 and 29 who is currently not in education or work. And many of these young individuals have complex social, personal, or psychological barriers. And something that's pretty common for this group as well is that they're disconnected and they have a poor both professional and personal network. Research indicators from Cora shows that interning in private companies is one of the few things that actually has an effect on these young people to find a direction and move forward. So through internships, young people, they establish an everyday life, they develop a work identity and see themselves as someone capable of working. They're exposed to new people and they start to develop their network. So when we set out to design a new intervention for unemployed youth, this was sort of the starting point. And before diving into the design process, I will spend some time explaining what Nextwork is and why it's different from other youth programs. The main idea behind Nextwork is to expose young people to internships that are interesting for them in order to find direction. In Denmark, we have a rule: if you're below 30 years old and you are not in job or education and you need to get financial support, you will need to have a plan, an educational plan. You need to figure out what you want to study, and you have to start that education within a year. Due to that, a lot of these young people who have very little or very vague idea of what it means to have a job, and they don't really have a direction. So once they start on an education, there's a very big tendency that they will drop out. So the dropout rates are extremely high. And we believe by giving young people the experience of what it means to have a job and give them the opportunity to explore what's interesting for them will reduce that dropout rate. So Nextwork consists of networks. That's the main idea. There are two networks: a network of young people who is supervised by a youth developer. And there is a network of companies supervised by a company coordinator. And basically what Nextwork does is to bring those two networks together. And we facilitate a process where young people and companies together discover good work-related but also personal fits. Companies and young people get together and they play a Nextwork game that we've designed, which enables the young people to express what's interesting for them, both in terms of work tasks but also from a company cultural perspective. So that could be that a young person is interested in physical work, or it's important for them that they have a variety of different work tasks. But what could be equally important for them is that it's a place where there's room for making mistakes, for instance. So once the young person has said what's important to them, the companies get a chance to elaborate how this play out in their company and what their company culture look like. And we've seen that this gives the young people a much better foundation to choose where to go and what to try out, and also create motivations. So I could speak a lot about how Next Work works, but I think I will let you hear what the young people and the companies say instead.
Egentlig drejer det sig ind i mit hoved om at netværke både med de unge og med de virksomheder, som er involveret. Jeg mener, at det er vigtigt, at virksomhedsnetværket er utroligt stærkt i forhold til, at vi kan håndtere de unge i samlet flok.
Jamen, i torsdags så mødte vi en række virksomheder. Vi sad ved nogle borde og fik nogle rigtig gode samtaler med en del virksomheder.
Vi skulle lære dem at kende og lære, hvad de egentlig kan tilbyde os af aktiviteter og arbejdsopgaver i de forskellige firmaer.
Der var en del ting, som i hvert fald overraskede mig, for eksempel Føtex. Når man tænker Føtex, så tænker man primært, det er bare at sidde bag en kasse, men der er så meget mere, og det blev jeg faktisk lidt overrasket over.
Men jeg synes, de har været rigtig søde og rigtig åbne over for os og vores forskelligheder. Og nogle har været dårlige i skolen, og det har vi været ærlige om, og nogle har haft psykiske diagnoser, og det er blevet sagt. Og det har de bare nikket. Nå, okay, fint, det finder vi ud af, agtigt. Så det er fedt, at der har været plads til alle.
Ja, jeg blev overrasket over, hvor mange virksomheder der egentlig var med, hvor mange muligheder der var. Nogle firmaer ligner selvfølgelig hinanden, men jo, der er mange forskellige firmaer nok at vælge imellem.
Og jeg tror heller ikke, man skal underkende den effekt, det har, at nogle virksomheder bruger så meget tid på dem og stiller op og er med i sådan noget her. På en eller anden måde, så håber jeg og tror måske også, at det kan være med til at booste deres selvtillid.
Jeg er blevet positivt overrasket over, at de viser så meget interesse for en, selvom de ikke rigtig kender en.
Der har været super meget fokus på, at vi skulle lære virksomhederne at kende i form af de her møder, vi har haft med dem. Og det synes jeg egentlig har været den bedste forberedelse, man kunne lave i forbindelse med sådan noget her.
Det har jo en verden til forskel, fordi vi nu kender dem, og de kender os på en helt anden måde end fra et stykke papir. Ikke? Vi har sat ansigt på, at de har fået sat deres egne ord på, hvorfor de er her og hvad de vil. Og vi har fået lov til at fortælle og vække deres interesse forhåbentlig for det, vi render og laver.
Det anderledes er, at det er praktikpladserne selv, der er kommet ud og mødt os, i stedet for at det er os, der skal ud og møde praktikpladserne. Så praktikpladserne har også vist det engagement i, at de også gerne vil hjælpe os til at komme videre.
Der er jo rigtig mange ressourcer hos de unge, og det kan man måske godt, når man hører deres historier og hører om den her gruppe af unge mennesker, og hvad man gerne vil med dem, tænke, at der ikke er så meget af, men når man får snakket sammen, så ligger der rigtig mange ressourcer, og rigtig meget, der også kan bruges ude i de forskellige virksomheder, hvis bare der bliver støttet rigtigt op og givet den rigtige udvikling.
So, our good friend here, Michael, he starts in an internship in a production company with the main focus to maintain machinery. And he starts to gain the feeling of contributing. He feels appreciated for his effort. And he used to have this very fixed idea that he wanted to become a mechanic, but he starts realizing that it's not just about fixing cars. What's interests him in general is just maintaining and fixing stuff. So Next Work is a service that facilitate internships in an optimized way, but Next Work is more than a service, it's an experience. And in order to highlight what makes Next Work different from other youth programs, I would like to highlight some of the service components. So I just mentioned that the young people are facilitated by a youth developer. And the way it works is that once they start in an internship, they meet once a week in a network group consisting of 7 to 8 young people, where they talk about their experiences at work. And the conversation is about work, and it's very important to highlight that a lot of these young people, they have challenges. It can be drug abuse, it could be depression, anxiety, a daily routine that's completely upside down. There are so many different things, but one thing they do have in common is that they are currently working. So due to the challenges, the conversation will also naturally be about some of the personal barriers. And the network groups are facilitated by these youth developers who facilitate a conversation where young people are able to give feedback and support to one another. In other words, they're not just left on their own. They have a forum where they can discuss things that matters to them. The companies also meet once a month, or network groups, but that's only once a month. And due to some of the young people's challenges and barriers, they will also experience some difficulties once they're interning. So this is a forum where they can also meet and they can make strategies together and get feedback how to cope with more difficult cases. Each youth developer has up to 3 groups of 7 to 8 young individuals, and the amount of youth developers of course depends on the network size, but they can also get together once a week and they can share experiences and make strategies together. And then both young people companies, the youth developers and the company coordinators, they track the development of young people along the way and the performance of the service, which enables Nextwork or enables us to go and improve things if they're not working the way they're supposed to do. But I think it could be interesting just to dive in for a few minutes to hear what the young people think the network groups is and how they use them.
Vi sidder og snakker om projekter og ting, vi skal lave, og hvordan vi har det ude på virksomhederne.
Altså, de ting, man snakker om her, der kan man også godt høre, at de andre de kan sætte sig ind i en sted. Og, altså, man kan snakke om det på en helt anden måde. Synes jeg, det er meget fedt at komme her for at snakke med folk.
Og man kan faktisk lære meget hinanden, selvom firmaet er på kryds og tværs. Altså, selvom det er 20 forskellige ting, man laver næsten. Ikke?
Også det der med fra starten, hvor man har haft lidt svært ved at finde ud af rytme. Man har fundet ud af, man kan ikke rigtig finde ud af, hvad man skal, hvordan arbejdspladsen den er og sådan noget. Altså det hjælper også lidt at komme herop og snakke om tingene, fordi det kan godt være, at jeg måske ser lidt anderledes på det, end andre gør, hvor de måske ser lidt mere logisk på det, og jeg ser mere subjektivt på det. Det kan altså også godt hjælpe en del, og så komme op og forvente det hele.
Det giver en meget fed bekræftelse, at jeg ikke er den eneste, der går rundt med de her tanker, at jeg ikke er den eneste, der går rundt med de her oplevelser. Men det giver mig så samtidig også nogle idéer til, hvad der er, jeg måske skal forberede mig på. Hvad det er, der muligvis kan ske i sådan en virksomhed, som man bliver sendt ud i der.
Og alle støtter alle. Og det er lige meget om, hvad for en baggrund man har, eller hvad for nogle præmisser man er ude på praktikpladsen med. Altså, alle støtter alle, og har man haft en lille sejr, jamen det bliver jo til en kæmpe sejr, når man først kommer og fortæller det her, fordi alle er så glade på ens vegne. Det er virkelig fedt.
Jeg har fået nogle venskaber, som jeg ikke havde før, og de har et helt andet indblik i den hverdag, som jeg for det første kom fra, men også den hverdag, jeg har fået, end mange af mine andre venner har. Så det er meget nemmere at snakke med dem, fordi de har en anden forståelse for situationen.
Der er mindst lige så meget et socialt element over de her netværksgrupper, som der er et professionelt plan. Fordi at de her netværksgrupper, vi er kommet ud i, det er mennesker, vi ikke nødvendigvis skal bonde med, men det er i hvert fald mennesker, vi kan have en relation til, fordi at vi ligesom står i den situation, vi nu engang står i. Og det gør vi alle sammen. Den eneste forskel er bare, at vi kommer ud i nogle forskellige virksomheder.
Jeg synes nogle gange, der er 2 timer næsten for lidt, fordi man har så meget at fortælle alle sammen.
Projektet har jo givet mig rigtig meget, og har hjulpet mig rigtig meget. Og det, at jeg kan sige, at jeg kom fra det her, og nu er jeg her, og det er gået så meget fremad, Og jeg kan videreformidle det til andre unge mennesker, som står i præcis den samme lortesituation, jeg gjorde, da jeg startede på Network. Det tror jeg kan give dem lidt blod på tanden, og så sige, så vil jeg sgu prøve det her, og gøre en indsats for, at mit liv det kan lykkes, og det kan blive bedre, end det er nu. For det gjorde det jo for mig. Altså, så.
Let's get back to Michael. When he's interning, he meets a lot of different challenges. He becomes homeless. He even has to break into his old apartment to get some food. He breaks up with his girlfriend. He increases his abuse of hash, and he has suicidal thoughts. But he's attending the network groups, and he's having conversations with his youth developer, and then he really appreciates going to work and to meet with his colleagues, which is actually what makes him find his way back on the right track. And I quote Michael here that I don't think I would have been able to get through this period of my life if I hadn't had my work to get up to every morning. So throughout the prototype, we've been working with these 5 principles. Mix it up. So there's a tendency in Denmark that you put people into categories or into boxes where everyone is similar to each other. But we believe it's important to mix it up and let people inspire each other. In this way, the young people become each other's role models, you might say. So work first. As I mentioned before, a lot of these young people, they have different challenges, but everyone's working. And seeing the youth as people rather than cases makes a huge difference to them. The social fit can be as important as the work-related fit. Appreciating the work environment and the people you work with can be as motivating as the work tasks themselves. And involve people and companies in the decision-making. It breeds ownership and motivation, no doubt about that. Some of the young people, they have barriers, but they also have a lot of potential. So seeing the young people in a different light also slowly enables them to do the same. So during the internship, Michael, he realizes how much he likes what he's doing, and he actually applies for an apprenticeship in this job, or in this company. Unfortunately, he is deselected for other more qualified candidates, but his efforts, they actually pay off. He gets a job in the company. They make a plan together, the company representative and Michael, for him to start education after the summer break. And even though he has a full-time job, now Michael still participates in the next work group when it's possible for him, which is approximately once a month. So I would like to take you through our people-centered process or approach, and it's important to highlight that this is not a user-centric approach, because if you look at Nextwork from a user perspective, you might say that, yeah, the young people, they're definitely the users. But Nextwork is a service that cannot exist without the other stakeholders, the municipality, the Nextwork team, and the companies. So it's a service with many touch points and actors. So the pre-study started in fall 2014. We interviewed young people, companies, municipalities in order to get an understanding of the space we were trying to navigate within. So the service was shaped from these inputs from the users and improved in taking to a prototyping level through our co-creation sessions. And then the prototype was initialized in 2015, and I would really like to share some of the key insights from that process. The 3 main stakeholders we've been working with is the young people, the companies, and the municipality. And the 2 key things we wanted to test in this prototype regarding the young people and the companies, and what were the boundaries of their engagement, and also how to create the right conditions for young people, but also for companies to participate and feel ownership. When we designed Nextwork, we met a lot of prejudice, both from municipalities or primarily from people, caseworkers and so on, working in the municipalities. The young people are too vulnerable. They might not be able to be in an internship, or the companies are way too busy. They don't have time to engage, and you cannot give them too much responsibility. But we did that, and you can do that. But it's important that the people involved in the prototype have a safety net. The companies need a lifeline if they encounter a situation they feel they cannot cope with, and the young people need people around them to help navigate. Therefore, it's extremely important that you have the right team when running a prototype that affects other people's lives. And in this prototype, the network groups were facilitated by psychologists and narrative therapists who were also available 24/7 for the young people. And to make sure that the companies also felt like they had the possibility to get inputs from professionals, they participated in the company network groups as well. So if you want if you want people to develop ownership over a service, it's crucial that you design a process where stakeholders are positioned as insightful and feel involved. So having conversation and conducting interviews and all those things is simply not enough. Designing session and props that enable stakeholders to be innovative is important, but what's even more important is that you as a team act on the inputs and you show the stakeholders the result of their work. Otherwise, they don't have a clue about what's going on. So they are the experts. People acting in servants are the experts, and you could put them through a lot without causing them harm. What's important is that they know that you are running a prototype, and running a prototype is somehow like conducting an experiment. And their feedback is what help to shape the service and the outcome of the experiments. If you have this approach, nothing is right or wrong. Things work or things work less. And what we do together is what can actually make this into something really good. So working with a municipality is both really great, but also really challenging, no doubt about that. It can be hard for them to break out of routines and patterns. And it was when we started out, we wanted to figure out how to make room for the experimentation in the municipal setup. What we've learned is that there's a great willingness to make change, no doubt about that. And by involving the municipality in the process from the beginning through our co-creation sessions and feedback sessions and so on, we create this feeling of ownership that helps to unlock the doors we need to be able to experiment. And what prototype is really about is creating innovation through experimentation. So in order to prototype next work, we needed the municipality to bend rules, we needed them to recruit young people, we needed them to make the space for us to enroll the service. So without the municipality's engagement, there would have been no prototype of next work. And the next work approach is radically different from what other municipalities are doing. Roskilde municipality, they're differentiating themselves from other municipalities by engaging in a process like this, and they can actually use that as part of their branding strategy. And what we've learned is that don't ever underestimate the competition among municipalities in Denmark, and also the value of having an innovative profile. I've already mentioned why it's important to have the right team when prototyping with people's lives, but I would like to share some of the insights that I've learned by working with a multidisciplinary team. So the right mindset is more important than the right idea, and I guess this term is a pretty common saying when you work with design in general. But I learned that it's even more important when you prototype, because things rapidly change and you need to be able to adapt and navigate to these changes. Designers, they're used to work in this way, but psychologists are not, and people from the municipality are most likely not. So you might have a fantastic psychologist, but if he or she doesn't have the skill to be able to adapt to new conditions, they're probably not the right one for your team. Working with projects and teams also often means a lot of meetings. I guess all of you are familiar with that. And you've probably also found yourself in a situation where you've thought, yeah, I could definitely use my time somewhere else in something more productive. Being a multidisciplinary team means that you have a lot of different perspectives gathered in one place, and therefore often find the conversation going down a path you didn't expect. And it's important to take these detours, no doubt about that, and you often reveal unexpected potential and ideas. But what I think is even more important is that you're able to focus your sessions and extract the information you need. So use props, time your sessions, use whatever works for you, but make an effort to design your sessions the right way to make the most out of people. Being a designer in a multidisciplinary team put you in a position where you somehow become the facilitator, the mediator, and actually quite often also the translator. You find yourself in a position where you might know something about programming, something about, hopefully a lot about design, but you're able to sort of breach those gaps between the different team members. So that's pretty crucial that you find the right mindset, and you're very focused on doing that when you work as a team. So what are the next steps? As Ollie, he mentioned earlier, what's really important for many designers and also for me is that you can see you can't really see that my sketch, huh? That's not so good, but there's supposed to be a process timeline here. Anyway, but that you can see the impact of your design. And running a real-time prototype enables you definitely to see the impact of what you're doing. But what I think is really interesting is that working with a science institution as the Rockwell Foundation, I mean, they are all into research and see the impact of interventions or what's going on in the society. So, because the results so far are pretty good for next work, we've teamed up with Roskilde municipalities to start running a 2-year pilot of next work. And we will team up with Institute for Fiscal Studies, IFS in the UK, to make a evaluation of next work. So taking design into the next level and make a randomized controlled test of how next work performs in terms of other youth programs. There's the pilot. Right. So I would like to end this talk with the sentence that experimentation makes room for innovation, and innovation is needed also within the municipalities to deal with the challenges of tomorrow. Thank you.